Kyle, why don't you just start us off with a pretty simple definition? How do you define employee onboarding beyond just, paperwork or their first day or orientation or anything like that?
Yeah, I think it's really about they're really wanting to get to know your organization, get to know what you guys are about, what's their daily job, what's their routine going to be, what are they going to do every day? Get to know a little bit more about them. They can get to know about the team, a little bit more about the company. That way they just feel real comfortable that they made the right choice, wanting to work with somebody or work with you, work at your company because they have a lot of options and coming to work for the company you're working for is need to set them up for success.
I like that. Setting them up for success. That's a great way to kind of define it. Like a simple definition. I like that a lot. So, with that, how does that success or how does onboarding affect employee retention in the first 90 days?
I think it affects it big time because you're basically on the clock, in my opinion. And I think that if you have they have a bad experience with your onboarding, they're going to think, what did I just get myself into? They're going to think, is this the right fit for me? And within those first 90 days, they might already be thinking, I might need to be looking for something else if you don't hit the onboarding, straight up. Like I said, setting them up for success from day one.
Is there anything that you advise people in those first 90 days to kind of hey, make sure you're really doing this, you're doing that. Not only like with just the legal stuff, the paperwork that has to be filed, the information that needs to be collected on the employee, but beyond that, is there any tips that you give employers when you guys are maybe setting them up with employee onboarding as a potential service or a technology add-on for their payroll?
I mean, yeah, you have the technology, which is going to get all the documents you need. But I think past that, you can, ask them, in the interview, ask them, what's their favorite drink? I heard that one time. And, if their favorite drink's a Diet Coke, have a Diet Coke sitting on their desk when they first walk in, give them some company swag, it's a polo, a t-shirt, a coffee mug, all that to really make them know that you're invested in them.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit then about the software. So, obviously, you guys, are an iSolve partner, and you use iSolve for a lot of your administrative stuff. How can payroll and HR software, streamline onboarding? What capabilities does it have? What are the features that you guys like to highlight and show when people are setting up an onboarding process for employees? Let's talk a lot about the technology.
Yeah, so the technology is great because it's an all-in-one platform, and when you onboard somebody, you basically need their name and their email, and it sends them a message. It says, welcome to the team. You can put your logo in there, write them a little nice message, and just say, hey, complete this form. It usually takes the average employee 5 to 10 minutes, and it goes through and fills out all the necessary information that they need. Your I-9s, your W-4s, direct deposits, contact information, all that stuff that you would need, and then it puts them. Once they're done with it, it puts them right into the payroll. If you got a timekeeping system involved, it puts them right into timekeeping, benefits, all that stuff's connected. And it all truly starts from the onboarding process. There is a learning management where we can do paths, where you guys set up a path for them, and whether it's a customer service path or maybe a Microsoft Excel or harassment training or whatever. There's thousands of courses you can put people through that they can learn. You can do, peer-to-peer reviews in there, all kinds of little things. And then also the benefits of retirement, if you're offering, a nice benefit package, they can go through and, select their benefits that's right for them and their family. And same with retirement, they decide, hey, I want to, give 3% of my 401k through the company that's matching it.
How long does an onboarding process typically last, and does the technology take you through that whole process? So let's just say it's like a 90-day, typically a 90-day window that we're looking at for onboarding. So when an employee comes in their first day, all the way through the 90 days, and then they're kind of, finished onboarding, quote unquote, at that point. What is a typical one you see, and does the software kind of take them through the whole thing?
I think you could say 90 days because it starts with, like I said, it starts with those initial documents that every employer needs when they hire somebody. And then you can do the learning management. And then at the end of the day, at the end of the 90 days, you can have your 90-day review in there with your managers and make sure everything's where it needs to be, and they're feeling comfortable with you, and you guys are feeling comfortable with them, and for at that point they should be pretty much entrenched and getting along with everybody and knowing what their daily routine is.
I'm glad you hit on that, the 90-day review part, because that can usually be like a good thing, and you don't want to miss that, right? So if you don't have a set onboarding process, that could be overlooked, and that could be a problem. So okay, great. We've talked a little bit about the documents. So what are some of those must-have documents? I mean, easy for you to say, but let's say if you're new to it, if you're a new HR manager or you're even an employee, what are the documents that every employer needs to collect?
You're definitely going to want to get your I-9. You're going to get your W-4. You want your WH-4s. Here in Indiana, that's the Indiana one. Also, you're going to want to get their direct deposit information if you guys are offering direct deposit. If you guys have an HR handbook, which I know a lot of small businesses don't, which they should, they can integrate the handbook right into the onboarding process, and they can sign it right there. If maybe you guys have a drug policy or a car policy where you need to sign off on the car insurance policy, they can sign it right there in the onboarding process. There's even a cool thing where you can go and ask them, multiple choice questions like, what t-shirt size are you? What, you have any allergies, anything like that. So they know, if you're giving out uniforms, how many you need, things like that. Is really nice to have in your onboarding process.